What's up YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey, and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. And before I start this video, I would like to say, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, and do your own DD. Today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT, Meta Materials Inc. We're going to break down the TA, we're going to look at the options chain, we're going to go through both Ortex and Fintel. We've got some awesome stock twit stuff, some Twitter stuff, not a whole lot happening in the news, but we're going to go through a little bit of that, and of course at the end of the video, my prediction. So let's go ahead and crack into it. Today we started out the day opening up at $5. We hit a high of $5.06, and that was immediately right out of the gate, and then a low of $4.83, closing the day out at $4.86, finishing down 2.61% on the day. And that is on about 6.31 million in volume, which is an increase, but unfortunately it is mainly shorting and selling pressure. And now I'm going to address that. The main reason why I say it's shorting and selling pressure is, first and foremost, we know that there's a lot of shorting pressure. And there was a lot right in here in this area, downward pressure here, and basically anywhere you see heavy major short ladder attacks. But the other thing you want to notice is these block sells. Anytime you see a big block sell, that's because you'll notice it's at a key level of support or resistance. And because it came under, could have been a stop loss hunt, or just somebody letting off a bit of their position, taking profits because they feel that it's going to be going further down. Now, no one person could ever possibly know that. It's just a gut feeling that they may have. So just take that for what it is. I wouldn't think too heavily on the fact that we have dropped below 5 and that we did see some selling pressure today. And I could show you the selling pressure. If you look at the order flow, the inflow is only 5.35 million and the outflow is 7.79 million. So it does show that there's a significantly heavier outflow volume than there is inflow, showing that there was quite a bit of selling pressure. But again, we can contribute that, or attribute that, I should say, to stop loss hunting. I would think that would be the heaviest portion of our selling pressure was stop losses. Now, also, you'll notice that we did come all the way down here to $4.83, and we bounced off of that pretty well, respecting it nicely. But showing that $4.90 has now become a pretty strong level of resistance, especially right here on the 1 minute chart, showing that we broke below it, trending below it. Now, I was hoping for a U-shaped breakout pattern. Unfortunately, we could not reach the Whaaat, as you can see right here, and it did break down below again, 490, creating an even stronger level of resistance now. With a final stretch at the end. This was a major short attack here at the end to finish us out at the $4.86 mark. Now, let's move on to the next chart. So here we are at the next chart, and the first thing I want to talk about is one person showed me on Twitter today something I was kind of missing. And, I don't think I was totally missing it quite yet, but I hadn't seen it as of yet. So I do want to give a little bit of credit where credit is due. And I want to give this guy here, Jonathan, at Jonathan888-05530, the credit that is due. Looks like we're going to be touching a triple bottom at 476, and you're absolutely right. It does look like that we could potentially be seeing that. And a triple bottom is typically a very bullish situation. That means that you're going to see a reverse in trend. And I tell you what, I really hope we do see that here in the next day or two. And I'm going to tell you why right now. So if we go back over to the chart, what you can see here is a very clear head and shoulders pattern. Now, unfortunately, a head and shoulders pattern is a very bearish indicator. And right now we're coming to a point where that triple bottom could absolutely touch. So let's look at the head and shoulders. So right here, you've got your head, and here's one shoulder over here, and here's the other shoulder right over here. So shoulder, head, shoulder, and you're looking at this as your level of resistance. And we did definitely break through that, especially today. We came down below that technical level of resistance. And what we're ultimately looking for that to happen is for it to tap off of that 476 mark, that Sterling's mark, the mark that Sterling has basically coined to be his own at this present moment in time, because it's tapped it twice, and we're looking for a triple tap. And so right now we're in a very bearish trend with this head and shoulders pattern. But we're looking to have a conversion, a reverse. Now, I will tell you this, on the 1 hour chart, that's looking very good. We are currently showing the MACD down here at the bottom, getting ready to cross over the signal line. In fact, it's actually crossing it now. And we're currently at 8 o'clock. So it looks like first thing in the morning, it would be a cross. And then we're showing green bars on the histogram, and the RSI is hooking up. And again, this is on the 1 hour chart, and we're looking at the after hours. So let's go ahead and move on to the very next chart. All right, so on this chart, we can clearly see a head and shoulders pattern again. And what you're looking for is basically just this peak here and this peak here. They basically came to the same exact spot. They just have to be at the same spot or close, with the head going well over those two peaks. And then you'll also see that it did break down below that level of resistance right here. It actually shows it to you really well on the 1 day chart. Now, you'll also see on the 1 day chart that the histogram and the RSI tell a little bit different of a story. Now, the RSI is currently sitting at 44.8, and the histogram is getting bigger red bars, and the MACD is still currently underneath the signal line. Also, the MACD is starting to separate from the signal line. You'll notice that there's a little bit of hook away over the last couple days. Now, I didn't get to talk about this on Friday or on my Sunday video. Friday, I had the football game, which was awesome. We lost, but it was still awesome. And on Sunday, we had the interview, which I urge everybody to go and take a look at that interview. I interviewed Roller Pigeon from Reddit. She is awesome. She's got a lot of great DD out there. But anyway, I didn't get to talk about this too much, so I definitely want to just note that it has hooked down from Friday and today, and it's showing separation. So we still haven't come out of this bear trend. What we're looking for, again, like I had said, is an ultimate test of the $4.76 mark. If we test it and bounce off of it and basically revert, go back north, you can then say that it signaled a reverse. And what we want to see is we want to see this level of resistance be tested and broken. It doesn't have to happen in 1 day. It can happen over a course of a couple of days, especially since we're looking at this in the 1 day chart, and it shows it takes a few days for this to break down. It could take a couple days for us to break back over this, but ultimately we want to see a consistent green upward trend happen to come over this line to create a break of the resistance. And then you can say that the trend has broken and we're back into a bull trend. And that's currently what we're looking for that to happen. And I just wanted to go ahead and show that to you guys, that we have formed a head and shoulders. We have broke through the level of resistance, and that is a true head and shoulders break. And we're looking for ultimately a triple bottom. And thank you, Jonathan, for pointing that out. Triple bottom would basically reverse us, and that was what we're hoping for, okay? And that's technicals, guys. That is absolute technicals. Let's go ahead and move on to the options chain. All right, so the options chain. So today we had 13,195 calls, 3,531 puts, for a grand total of 16,726 contracts traded in total. Remember, that is always buying and selling of contracts, not just buying. And that is I want to say, what? 85 to 90% calls, roughly 10-15% puts, doing it on the fly. So our implied volatility has also come down quite a bit. We're at 112.52%. So now, naturally, that's going to come down with a few red days in a row. We've had quite a bit of downward pressure, unfortunately. There's been a lot of shorting pressure, and again, with stop losses and paper hands, you're going to have some selling pressure. So that is going to push the IV down a little bit. Now, also remember, that is giving the IV room to run up. So if investors are looking into getting into this stock as far as the options chain goes, they're going to be looking at implied volatility to see what overall it's doing. And it's right now getting into that really neutral level where it could do anything. And ultimately, all it would need was a little bit of volume pouring into the underlying stock, maybe a little PR, something like that, and to really get the underlying stock pumping, which would, again, get the IV going, which ultimately helps out the options chain overall, bringing some of those calls into the money and helping people make money on that delta. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and skip past this and move on into the news stuff, the Ortex and the Fintel. All right, so here we are at Ortex. I don't need to hit refresh. Unfortunately, Ortex has been taking a long time to load, so I'm not going to hit refresh. I already paused my screen so that way I could do it quickly and just go right into it. So here we are in Ortex. I did put out a morning briefing, but unfortunately it was a little late. I had a little bit of a dental issue. It happens. I have a Corso, and if anybody knows what those dogs are like, they're very rambunctious, and they have hard heads. And he bonked me this morning and knocked out a filling, and I had to go get it taken care of first thing. So it kind of put me out of commission for a couple hours as far as talking goes, but I'm a salesman. I talk a lot, so that gets the blood flowing in the lips. In fact, I had a person comment on it later in the day. The dentist told me the same thing. If you can utilize your mouth and start working it, it'll enhance the blood flow and it'll help the numbness go away quicker. And it did. So now it just hurts. Anywho, let's get into Ortex. So this morning I did put it out, 88.25% utilization. The cost to borrow is currently sitting at 6.6%, and the days to cover is at 2.47, 24/7, guys. MMAT 24/7. Shares on loans currently at 43.27 million, and the free float on loan is 18.7%. Now, we already know that these two numbers won't change for a few days yet, and the current average number of days on loan is sitting at 21.11 days, and this has been updated to as of October 15th, so that is Friday. Also, this is all current information. This is all intraday. It tells you that changes from Monday at 7 a.m., and this is intraday information, and it's estimated, all of it. So you're at a positive 1.47% on short interest change. So that means they borrowed more than they returned today. They borrowed 1.85 million. They returned 1.22 million for a borrow change of an increase of 637,000 shares that were shorted into the market. Now, that does show that the current short interest estimate is 23.05 million, and that is 9.97, we'll just call it 10% of the free float. That covers Ortex. Let's move on over to Fintel. All right, so here on Fintel, it shows a little bit different of a story, and as I've said before, they're two different reporters, so they're going to have a little bit different of a story because they're reporting from different brokerages and different sectors of the market. Well, one's NASDAQ, the other one's FINRA. It's just that's the way it works. So you're going to see a slightly different numberage. According to Fintel, there's currently 4.71 days to cover, so it's going to take a little bit longer through Fintel than it would through Ortex, according to them, to cover all of the shares that are outstanding shorted. And always keep that in mind. This in mind. I am only talking about MMAT short shares. I am not talking about the Torchlight short shares that still have to be covered from the merger. That is a completely different ballgame. I clarify that on every single video. Those are not counted in anything I'm talking about. That's its own entity. And when that all happens, when that all blows up, we'll find out what's there. So let's move on to this. So we're currently sitting at 79.41 out of 100 on the short squeeze score. That means we're currently 206 out of this many stocks. And they're showing 650,000 shares available to be lent out from a leading prime brokerage. And they get gobbled up quick. In fact, you saw that a lot today. At one point today, there was 1.2 million, and that got dropped down to 700,000. That's 300,000, 500,000 they borrowed in an instant. And then they returned a few, and then they've borrowed some more. So you can expect to start seeing these go back down to those lower numbers we were seeing in the past. What you're going to want to see is, like I had talked about earlier, is for the sentiment to change. When the sentiment changes and the volume starts pouring in and you start seeing the bigger run-up days, you're going to start seeing the shorts needing to borrow again. As of right now, they're able to return and cover on a downward trend. It actually does work that way. The lower the stock gets, the shorter-term shorts that are just kind of trading in and out within the week or even couple of weeks, they can exit their position and make their money. Remember, when the stock goes down to a certain level, they want to pull out because they don't know if it's going to go back up again. And we're creeping in on that position where it has proven to be a test point to go back up. So I would expect for them to try and start shorting it again heavily. They're going to want to borrow these up to do so. And currently they're showing their short borrow fee rate is at 4.19. Man, we're just going to call it 420, guys. It's 420. All right, so we had a nice 420 celebration because it's close enough. Got a minute? I do. All right, so is this updated for today? Oh, man, it is almost all the way. Currently showing 49% short volume from the FINRA. FINRA being the dark pool, we know that. FINRA also usually having half or more of the overall volume of the day. So showing right here, we know we had about call it 6.5 million in volume. You're showing 3.5 million in FINRA volume. And again, like I had said, over almost half of that was short volume. I would expect to see these numbers to kind of fall into line, and you're going to start seeing that, like I said, look here, this was Friday, heavily shorted. Now remember, Fridays, we know it's going to get shorted because they want to drag it down, get it out of the options situation, which we'll cover that here in just 1 second. So I would expect the rest of these numbers to show true, be close to that 53% short volume ratio. Now, back to this. Friday was options expiration. Now, we did not have the volume pour into the stock like we would like to have seen it to do. I did explain in my video on Sunday, in the end of the video, how gamma squeezes actually work. And I want to go ahead and clarify that again here, right now. I want everybody to know a gamma squeeze only happens, let's go back to our options page so we can explain this, if multiple expirations, or I'm sorry, multiple strikes come into the money quickly. So on last week, what we would have wanted to see was we would have wanted to see the $6 strike come in. Shortly after that, the $7 strike. Shortly after that, the $8 strike. Now, I do know I believe the $8 strike didn't have much for open interest. So we would have wanted the $9 strike to come in. And then eventually that would have pulled the $10 strike in. So always remember, you want the volume to keep pouring in through the strikes of the stock. Once the ball gets rolling, it's rolling. But unfortunately, that ball never even started to roll. It didn't even get pushed down the hill. In fact, the chalk was put on each side. The ball was picked up and put back in the box last week because the volume went away. And I'm going to tell you why I think that happened. MMTLP. It's very possible that was put up as a distraction. It pulled the volume out of the stock. Now, I'm not going to say it pulled all of the volume out of the stock, but yeah, you know what? I am. And here's why. Yes, it pulled the volume away from the stock from the retail investors that would generally trade it, but it also pulled away from the stock from the big-time investors, the ones that were trading it before, when we were seeing the 8, 9, 10, 12, 20, 30 million volume day, because they're going, whoa, what's going on here? So a confusing event like that can absolutely make not just retail want to move over to that fun little toy that we've been playing with, but it's going to make the big money, the smart money, back off a bit as well, creating this, what we've seen as a downtrend, basically since MMTLP was incepted. So that is why I think that is that, and also the reason why I'm not concentrating on that silly little stock anymore. I stand behind what I say. I think it's going to disappear soon because of the rules of the dividend disbursement. Ultimately, whether it be dividend dispersed as cash or it be a spinoff, that ticker's going to go away, and new shares, if it's a spinoff, will be put in its place, or a cash deposit to your account, brokerage account, will be put in its place. So I think MMTLP will disappear, and I'm done talking about that again in this video. All right, so let's move on to the next thing we need to talk about, and that is the buyers and sellers. So, buyers, we haven't had anything recently. I think I'm on the buyers. Let's make sure. Owners, buyers, let it move, do its thing. Yes, we are. Haven't had much of anything recently. It looks like the 12th was the last ones that were buyers. We had a couple of news here, Kashinishki and Tennessee Valley. And then we had a couple, looks like we had a put and just some shares purchased. So, cool. We had that. Sellers, I don't think there was anything there. On the 14th, XR Securities LLC. They sold everything off. I wonder what they had. Let's find out. Nothing. I mean, it doesn't even look like it was anything. Yeah, 78,000 shares it looks like. Not too big of a deal. No biggie. No new filings as of yet. I don't see anything here. Do you? Nope. Okay. Let's move on to the Twitter stuff. Twitter stock twits. All right, so here we are at Twitter. First and foremost, I want to give Duke Silva Sachs, a.k.a. also on Stock Twits, sorry about that. Real Duke Silver. He's going to get all the props for this one, bud. So first thing this morning, I get these messages in my inbox on Stock Twits. Hey, check this out, Smokey. I've also got this on Twitter. So why isn't this blowing up on Twitter? Well, it did. It absolutely did. In fact, I noticed it. I did a little bit of digging too, and found out what we're going to be talking about is going to be the glucose wise. So today they did a little bit of a talk. Ken Rice, I guess, came out, did something. I don't know what all this is. I really don't, as far as it goes with this first initial page. We'll pull this up so you can see it. I don't know what today was. However, I do know what Wednesday is. In fact, Duke did go ahead and highlight that as well. But I did a little bit more digging. So here's my picture at 11:22 on Wednesday inside the Baltimore 1, I believe it was, complex or room, meeting room, whatever it is. They're going to have the non-invasive glucose testing demonstration. There will be a review panel, which means I believe they're going to be testing an actual product. They're going to be showing an actual product. I don't know if it will be slides or not, but when you've got a review panel, I would assume, just assume, that they may have a working prototype that they're going to be showing. And you'll notice that we've got some pretty good panelists here. So, Mason University, I want to say, what do we got here? Army somewhere. Yep, U.S. Army Medical Research, Med Foresight LLC, Tech Warrior Enterprises. These are really big players in some pretty big games. All right, so I definitely foresee this Wednesday thing being something that could be super potential for us. Now, I also did say that it looks like we're presenting the glucose-wise on Wednesday in the morning and nano web antennas in the afternoon. And I don't have a picture of that up here, the afternoon one, but it looked like right around the 2 o'clock hour, I believe it was. They were going to be doing the nano web presentation about the nano web invisible antennas that kind of just go into the film. I also said I'm trying to get more details on how to get in, and I absolutely am. I'm doing some reaching and some polling, and I'm trying to see if I can get some tickets to this event. Now, I do know it is a closed event, which generally means it's not open to the public. But I'm going to see what I can do. I really am going to see what I can do. I'm willing to pay the $1,000, whatever it is, to get in. It's I think $1,000 ticket. I believe that you guys deserve that. I've made roughly that on my YouTube channel over the course of the last couple of months, and I'd be more than willing to toss that right into a ticket to get into this thing. I've already aligned it with my boss that if needs be, if I can get in, I'll be leaving for Washington, D.C. Tuesday night, which it's only about a 5-hour drive, and getting a hotel, and I'll be showing up there to see this. Again, I don't know if I can get a ticket. I am trying. I got home, I'm doing my DD, and I'm going to dig into their website here in a minute. So, yeah, that's that. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try anyway, guys. I promise you, if I can get in, I'm gonna come to you as fast as I can with the information. All right, so I got some information about that site while I was letting my video do its thing, and I figured I'd cut in here and inform you. I will not be attending that, unfortunately. It does require for you to be fully vaccinated, and I do have allergies to certain medications, so unfortunately, I have not been vaccinated. However, I can foresee this becoming a problem for the near future, and I am going to be contacting my doctor as soon as possible to see if there's any solution for me to be able to get vaccinated, because I'm not going to let this little bit of a hiccup stop me from being able to pursue Meta, possibly future expos, things like that. I was all gung-ho to go, and I would have went. Unfortunately, I have not been on the ball with the vaccination thing, and that's my own stupid fault. And I'm going to solve that problem immediately for you guys. So, yeah, on with the show. And just a brief look at right here, I'll accept your cookies. I've done that a million times over. This is the GlucoWise. So this has been like my key runner. I love the GlucoWise. Everybody knows that that is my thing. I've been a baseball coach, a basketball coach. I have taught the youth for many years now. I love children. They are our future. They are where it's going to go from here. I mean, just like we were once upon a time. And to be honest with you, a lot of us have really screwed the pooch. So I want to make sure that the future for our children is going to be bright for them. And I think this is one way that can happen, because diabetes is a real problem. And GlucoseWise has an innovative way to check the blood sugar, to check the glucose. And as a child, I know how painful it is for them to have to get the prick. I have several kids that have been on my baseball team that have to have that pump on their hip, and that's horrible. So any way that we can make it easier for a child to be able to test their levels, to me, that is more important than any solar panel you could put on any building, any antenna you could ever stick to a car. The kids are going to be what makes all of this stuff happen in the future. Without them, you've got nothing. And this, to me, is important. More important than everything. My opinion, guys. All right, and the next thing we're going to be talking about is the nanoweb. That's going to be later on in the day. I do believe that's a conversation as well. And again, if I'm there, I'm going to cover it. We know that the nanoweb is basically, it's an invisible antenna to kind of just goes into the film. So we can do a lot of things with films. We can integrate them into a lot of different things. And I think it's great that we're going to be going into this next panel, or this next expo. I think this is going to be a lot of bright talks. But again, I don't know. All right, I think I covered everything today except for the predictions. So let's go ahead and get cracking into that. All right, so here we are at the 5-minute chart, and we're going to go ahead and crack into this prediction. So as we had talked about earlier in the video, we have made a head and shoulders pattern. We have broke below this key level of support, and that is a very bearish sign. Now, what we're ultimately looking for what we're ultimately looking to happen is a continuation of that trend down to the $4.80 mark. Now, this is on the bearish side, possibly breaking through that to $4.76. We want $4.80 to be the catch. If it doesn't catch, expect $4.76 to be the catch and bounce, as we have seen it respect $4.76 a couple of times in the past. However, we have respected $4.80 in the past as well. In fact, that was right here, I believe. Yeah, $4.80 right there. We respected that. It was a very good bounce. And then we did it again right here. So we can consider both of them as a good level of support. Now, with that being said, providing we make this catch, I think our bear day will basically be over. If we don't make this catch, we're going to come down below the $4.76 mark, and I would expect for this $4.65 to probably be the final stop. I don't think we're going to go that far, guys. I think $4.76 will be the mark. That has been our strongest point thus far as bounce points. And then again, like I said, if we tap and go, you're going to see an immediate push over 490. We're going to break through that relatively quick, because we have in the past, and we're going to push straight for $5. If we can crack $5, we will probably trend between 5 and 5.10 for the remainder of the day. That's a bear prediction, guys. I think bear is going to go bull. Now, I know I'm being very optimistic, and I usually don't do that. I don't give you these green days even on a bear prediction, but you can't keep this beautiful stock down for long. You really, really can't. And you'll notice that today we saw an increase in volume. Okay, so it did pick up in volume today. Again, like we had said earlier, it's not the volume we wanted, but it's still volume. All right, and we're going to take it as we can. So providing buying volume can step in tomorrow, I think that would be our bear prediction. Now, if the buying volume doesn't step in, we come down to this 480 mark, 476 mark, and we trend sideways or even slightly below it, I wouldn't worry too much. We've got Wednesday still coming up. We've got a whole lot of things happening in the future. We've got that meeting happening. If something goes through on this meeting where we may get a contract or something signed, who knows? Or I'm sorry, this expo, if we get a contract out of it, who knows what could happen? We could be moonbound in no time. So don't sweat that kind of stuff. That's day-to-day price action you don't need to worry about. And again, if we do start scooting down there, go for a walk. Don't sweat it. All right, we've come from $2.80. We're fine. Now, with the bull prediction, well, I don't think we're going to make a morning dip. I really don't. Bull prediction, we're going to come firing out in all cylinders. I think we're going to shoot straight up. We're going to go for $5, $5.10, $5.20 pretty quick. $5.20 is going to be a bounce off point. We're going to come back down to the $5.10 level. Trade there through lunch, I would think. and hope to see a little bit more volume. Now, if we crack above 520 before lunch or even during lunch, expect for 520 to be your consolidation level, then making a possible test of $5.30 later on in the day, hopefully ending at the 530 to 532, 535 level. That's what I got for a prediction today. We're going to close out the day with that. Like, subscribe, make sure that you're sharing this video with everybody you possibly can. Also, make sure that you go watch that video from the other day that we did with Roller Pigeon. The sound is a little off, and I do apologize. At my very first live stream interview using Streamlabs OBS software. I've never used it before, and that was the very first time, so please forgive me. It's going to be better the next time, I promise. I'm going to work with it. So, yeah. With that being said, peace.